This is Blackout.
What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and today we're going to be covering how to get your hands on every single specialist character here within Blackout. So let's start off with my favorite specialist, the Ruin. So he can be unlocked by getting your hands on the punching mitts or the boxing gloves here within a match of Blackout, and these can be found at the following locations. The first easy one being the top part of the lighthouse, right on that narrow edge. So you can either get here by parachuting right at the beginning of the match, or by getting a chopper and going all the way to the top and slowly exiting so that you can stand on the platform and get your hands on the boxing gloves. This is honestly the best place to look when you spawn in on a match. The other locations are a bit of a pain in the ass to get to. Now, for the second location being the roof of the asylum, while it doesn't sound too hard to get to, honestly, you're very vulnerable in this spot. A lot of people can see you from down below near the fountain, or when they're spawning in on this part of the map, so it's easy to get killed while you're getting up here. But once again, this is on the opposite side of the map itself, so when you spawn in, you're either going to be going for the lighthouse or the asylum, and it could be at either one. But for the other two locations, which I personally would never check because it's very tedious, we then have the highest crane in construction site at the very peak right there, as you can see. So the best way to get up here is either through parachuting when you spawn in, or by using the grappling hook, but it's kind of impossible to land this one, and honestly it's not worth it. I'd rather you guys just keep restarting until you find that at one of the easy spots like the asylum or the lighthouse. Now we have a final location for these boxing gloves. It's going to actually be in Turbine, so in the smallest hangar on top of the yellow rafters. Now once again, I don't like going to Turbine. The circle usually ends at this location, but I wouldn't recommend even checking this at the start of a match unless you have a chopper or you have a good team with some vehicles that you can get around to quickly. So not recommending this location either. So I'd say the easiest spot to check is the lighthouse. This is where I found my boxing gloves, or you can also check the roof of the asylum if you do get a chance and you aren't getting shot by a bunch of enemies. So once you have the boxing gloves, all you have to do is get into close quarters with an enemy, so approximately, let's say, 1 to 3 meters in range, and shoot the enemy. You don't have to punch him, you don't have to use a specific weapon, just kill the enemy in close quarters, and once you do that, boom, you have now unlocked the Ruin. So moving on to the Ajax, this is probably one of the easiest characters to get your hands on, because all you have to do is find 3 destroyed armor platings that can only be found by killing enemies who are wearing armor. Now I'm gonna say this is probably easier to do towards the middle or end of a match when everybody is geared up, everybody has their armor, etc. So if you're lucky, if you are lucky, maybe you catch somebody at the beginning of a match grabbing level 1 armor, and then you kill them and grab the destroyed armor plating. It is that simple. Or honestly, if you're in a situation where you're going for an enemy but somebody else kills that enemy, you can still loot that person's bag for the destroyed armor plating. Doesn't matter who kills them, as long as you get to that bag first to loot their destroyed armor plating, then you are okay. And all you have to do is hold 3 of these armored platings in your inventory before you die or win the match. No placement is required. It is that simple, and after you have those 3 destroyed armor platings, you will have unlocked the Ajax. Next up we have the Crash. So this is going to be unlocked by finding the poker chips here around the map. I've usually found them in trauma kit packs, and what I mean by that is those big medical bags that feature trauma kits, med kits, bandages. The poker chips can usually be found in there, for the reason being that you have to have 15 or more medical items in your book bag, and you're going to have to place in a very specific rank within that match. So it's going to be top 3 when you're playing with quads, or top 15 when you're playing on solo. So that could be quite difficult, but the way I usually say is this: just forget about every weapon, forget about anything else besides medical items, and just hide the entire time until you hit that certain placement in the match, and then you can go all out, guns and blazing, risk your life to get that victory, whatever it may be. But it's not worth trying to play the hero So, and also trying to unlock this crash, because once again, you have to place in a very specific rank within the match. So if you're that good where you can keep getting kills and play like normal and then you can unlock this, go right for it. But if you're a mediocre player, then just sit back, chill, and then wait till you have that placement. So next up we have the Recon, which could be unlocked by finding the Ching coins here around the map, and you can find these in supply stashes, could be anywhere. You might not find it in one of your games, so keep in mind this is all RNG. Might take you a little while before you get your hands on some of these items here in the video, but once you have the Ching coins, you're gonna have to finish top 15 without taking damage from the collapse. So my biggest recommendation is simply chilling out, sitting back, and not really rushing anyone too much. But once you get that placement, I'd recommend just dying or letting yourself get killed, because if, let's say, you get the placement and let's say there's 3 other people alive besides you in a solo game or something, it's not worth accidentally taking damage from the collapse just so you can get a victory. You can die at any point once you're in the top 15. So I would say just make sure you don't get caught on the edges of the collapse, because bullshit happens. You might get shot, you might accidentally get caught behind the storm, and once you do get caught behind the storm, you'd have to drop the Ching coins because you would have failed the challenge. So pretty easy to do, not too difficult whatsoever. But moving on to the Seraph, which could be unlocked by completing a short challenge in the firing range and getting your hands on the Annihilator. So keep in mind, this is pure RNG. There will be matches where you go to the firing range and the challenge simply isn't available. I'm not sure why Treyarch has it designed that way, but once again, there will be matches where you can do it and some matches where you just can't. So if you go to the firing range and you go to this building with the green tarp over the roof, you're gonna want to see a specific set of targets, as you can see on screen, and you're gonna want to see this little metal box sitting on the table. If you see that, that means you can actually complete the challenge. But if you don't see that, that just means that it's not spawned in your current game. Not too clear as to whether or not there are other locations for this. I'm going to say no at the moment, but nobody has found anything related to the Seraph at any other location besides firing range. So all you have to do is find any pistol here in firing range or anywhere you might find it, and you're going to want to shoot the white target furthest to the right, and obviously the other targets as well. And once you have all those targets shot, that metal box will open up and you can get your hands on the Annihilator. Now all you have to do after this is get 1 kill with the Annihilator and then get top 5. So that might sound difficult, but all you have to do if you're playing on duos or quads is have one of your teammates call out an enemy or distract him or her while you go around and kill him or her with the Annihilator. So the Annihilator has limited ammo. You only have 6 shots in it, so be very careful with who you shoot, because if you waste your ammo with it, you're done. You failed the challenge. There's no other way to get ammo with this. So once you do get a kill with the Annihilator, you do have to place top 5, which honestly, as I said earlier, just play it safe. Don't try to be the hero trying to rush up on a bunch of teams. Just chill out, sit back, and once you get that placement is when you can go guns and blazing and go all crazy for a possible victory. But once you get that kill with the Annihilator, just relax, drive around, sit in corners, just relax, and you'll get the Seraph. It's not that difficult. So moving on to the hardest character, in my opinion, the Nomad. I know you guys are probably thinking, well, what about the Prophet? You have to actually win a game to unlock him. But nope, the Nomad is a lot more difficult than that. You have to find Juno's tags here on the map, but they're limited to only supply stashes. You cannot find Juno's tags in supply drops or anywhere else. They're very difficult to find. The RNG for these things are ridiculous. This was the last character that I unlocked before getting the achievement for having unlocked all multiplayer specialists here in Blackout. He's very, very difficult to find. So with my luck, I ended up finding Juno's tags off of a dead enemy, but I have seen Juno's tags in supply stashes before, usually around the gas station or near the firing range or even in estates. Once you do have Juno's tags, the original challenge used to be to kill 3 specialist enemies in one game, which doesn't sound that hard, right? But that's pure RNG, pure luck, and pure chance that the enemies in your game are using specialist characters and not some of the zombies zombies or campaign characters. But they've since changed that challenge to killing 2 enemies without taking damage from either one. So I got extremely lucky in this game of duos that I was playing with a random person. The circle ended in Nuketown. I ended up finding Juno's tags off of a dead enemy, and I just happened to get behind 2 of these enemies and killed them before I took damage from them. Super lucky. And I was also going for Menendez in this game as well, which I did successfully complete, and I got the victory here in a random duo game. So one of the luckiest games of Blackout I've ever been in since Black Ops 4 launched. But this is honestly the hardest specialist, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I've checked almost every supply stash for hours and just could not find them. And then there were a couple games here and there where I just happened to find them in a supply stash, but the circle ended in a bad spot. I took damage from an enemy before I killed them. I've had the worst luck trying to go for the specialist. But moving on to the Prophet, which I was just talking about, now you're gonna have to find the ocular prosthetic, which can only be found in supply drops. I have not found these in supply stashes whatsoever, but he isn't that hard. I've been in a really good duo game where I did find the ocular prosthetic, and all you have to do is equip 3 perks upon winning a game of Blackout. So let's say you're getting to the last couple of people in your match, equip those 3 perks, hoping that they stay active while you win the game, and simply do your thing. Actually try your hardest to kill the other enemies in the match. I was in a good duo game where I had 3 perks equipped and we had one other person left alive. We just ganged up on him and won the match. Not too difficult. I'm gonna say it's easier to do this on duos than it is on quads, just for the sake that you're not gonna have to worry about 3 other teammates after you kill 1 person. So on duos, it's obviously just 1 other person you have to kill once you kill a single person. So it's not that hard. People are saying this is the hardest specialist to get, but I think in terms of finding the ocular prosthetic, you're almost guaranteed this specialist item every time you go up to a supply drop when they do drop in towards the end of the game. It's not that hard to get. So honestly, just have a good teammate with you. Unless you're really confident on solo, have a good teammate with you on duos. I wouldn't even try doing this on quads unless you're in a very lucky lobby where everybody's trash and not camping or sniping, but you will eventually get this one. Not too difficult to find whatsoever. So next up we have the battery. So all you have to do is find the war machine, which can only be found in supply drops. And once you equip the war machine, all you gotta do is get 2 kills with it, which is not that difficult at all, especially when the circle ends in a close quarters area. But if you're lucky to find it at the beginning of the game, then you do have a really easy chance of killing some noobs before they find armor, health, you name it. So to be quite honest with you, the best way to do this is to not shoot more than 3 rounds at one enemy, just to make sure that when you get to the second enemy, you have plenty of ammo left to kill him with. You don't want to be in a predicament where you only have 1 shot left with the war machine and you're almost going to have to get a direct impact on that enemy so that you can instantly die. But they'll usually die within 2 shots. You'll either down them or you can even insta-kill them if you do hit them dead on. So not that hard to do. It's pretty easy to find, to be honest with you. I think the most common specialist items from supply drops are going to be the ocular prosthetic for the Prophet and then the war machine for the battery. Those are usually the only 2 I find when I'm getting supply drops towards the end of a match. But after you get those 2 kills, obviously that is it. No placement required for the battery. Now moving on to the fire break, you're going to have to find the burn the doll, which could be found in both supply stashes and supply drops. And it's not that hard. All you have to do is get a kill with fire. And obviously the only way to do that is with a Molotov grenade. So if you're on solo, just get behind someone, shoot him a little bit, and then throw the Molotov right at him to insta-kill him. Or if you're in a co-op game, then have one of your teammates distract an enemy, shoot him a little bit, and then get behind that enemy or something and throw the Molotov to instantly kill him. It's not as hard as it sounds, to be honest with you, because I've been in a lot of predicaments where I've accidentally thrown Molotovs at random enemies and have instantly killed them. So usually enemies have full health, but there will be those instances where they're damaged a little bit, they've taken some damage from other bullets, and then you could just insta-kill them with 1 Molotov throw. But the more Molotovs, the better. If you throw a Molotov at an enemy and he gets damaged a little bit but doesn't go down, just throw it at him again and boom, he'll instantly die. There's no way he'll have enough health or have enough time to actually regain his health by the time you throw the next Molotov. But That's about it for the fire break. No placement required once again. And last but not least, we have the torque. So all you have to do is wait for supply drops to spawn in on the match. This can only be found in supply drops, and find the note from torque. And along with this note from torque, the supply drop will also grant you with a barricade and 2 razor wires. Now, this is honestly very easy to do. What I would usually do is place the barricade and the 2 razor wires right away, right where you're standing near the supply drop, and then just place top 15. You don't have to get any kills with the razor wires or kills with the barricade. You just have to place all 3 of these items down and then finish top 15. So that's very simple to do. If you want to camp in a certain house and place the razor wires and barricade so you can finish top 15, go right ahead and do so, but you can literally place it anywhere and then just work your way towards that placement. And once you've done that, you'll have unlocked the torque. And that's about it. That is all specialist characters here within Blackout. I'll be doing more breakdowns for the Chaos characters, the Primus characters when they're unlocked, and obviously the campaign characters, which were just added in a couple of days ago. So be on the lookout for that. This has been dkdynamite. Hope you found this helpful and enjoy the specialist characters. Peace.